What up, Josue? How you doing?
I'm doing good right now.
It's Jimmy Toscano here with Josue Pavon after the Celtics defeat the Chicago Bulls 124-97. And Josue, what else did they do tonight?
Oh man, they did the impossible. Well, shouldn't say it quite that way,
Never
but you
been
know what I
done
mean.
before. They advanced to the
Hey,
next round
it's a
of
first.
the NBA in-season tournament. They're the Group C. What are they? Divisions? Group C division winners.
Group champ.
They're the group winner.
Group C champs.
Winners. Yeah. C for Celtics.
as they should be, right, Jimmy? As they should be. They're the best team of the group. It's what most projected. And
Yep.
look, they dropped one out of these four group games, but then when it really mattered, they went for it. Joe Mazzulla went for it, put his guys back in, subbed in Jalen and Tatum to finish the fourth in this one. I like it. I'm into it.
They more than went for it. They practically sold out for this thing tonight, man. They were up 35, I think, with the starting lineup in there in the fourth quarter. I get it. Listen, people, I get it. I get it on one hand. Okay, clearly the Celtics.
I think people just don't get it. That's what it is, Jimmy.
But the other thing is, like,
now they do.
God forbid, though, something bad happens late in the fourth quarter with one of your starters in the game up 25 points. This is my problem with like, what do we care about most here? Now, it didn't happen.
That's what I said to Bobby too. Yeah.
It didn't happen, but there's 30 teams playing for something at least at some point to start. Now there won't be, but you would hate for something like that to happen. I don't want to piss in everybody's cereal here.
Yeah. Always love that line.
But it is what it is. The Celtics advanced tonight. They did what they had to do. This is one of those games where, like, if they had an objective, they set out and they completed their objective, which was to dismantle the Bulls and give themselves the best chance to advance in this tournament. And we weren't sure if they cared about it. We heard Jaylen Brown kind of just say, yeah, whatever. I think Tatum was not didn't sound super pumped about it. So we weren't really sure where this team was at. I think Horford missed a game for one of them. And then to be in the position that they were in, where it seemed unlikely, I would say, we would all agree it seemed less likely than likely that they were going to advance here going into this one. Did they care about it? But sure as hell they did. They did care about it. We know
you did say that, Jimmy.
Mazzulla, I've said worse. Actually, Sherrod actually said way worse last video.
He did say way worse.
We got him in a square jar.
He was so disappointed in himself. He took the night off. Jeez.
So speaking of Sherrod, he's Professor Sherrod tonight. I don't think he'll be with us. John, I think, might be in the same boat. Bobby is at the Garden along with Josue, and Bobby will be joining us later. I think he's popping champagne right now in the back. After it's like the Red Sox, like, they advanced to the divisional round after the wild card, popping champagne in the locker room right now. Yeah. I don't think that's the scene in the Celtics locker room, but I did see some tweets that some of the reporters, I think it was maybe Jared Weiss.
There was a commotion. Yeah.
He could hear.
He talked about that. Yeah.
He could hear some level of celebrating. So that again, that good for them. They're advancing. And listen, does it make the games more interesting? Well, shoot. If you went to the game tonight, you got to see a hell of a lot more of Tatum and Brown and Holiday than you would have up that many points in the fourth quarter. And maybe you wouldn't have had as big of a blow. Maybe they aren't playing as hard, or maybe they're not playing as long or whatever, right? So I don't know. There's pros and cons to it, but I think we can all agree the Celtics are in it to win it at this point. So there's really no sense in fighting that. I think you're just going to have to go with the flow and hope that they can just let it roll and pray that they don't pay for it in some other way, right? So, Josue, you're at the game tonight. Yeah.
Thinking about someone getting injured, Jimmy.
I didn't say that.
You're thinking it. It's funny because I did say that to Bobby. I'm like, I'm seeing Jalen making all these, moves. You know how he does.
Yeah, well, Jalen got undercut late in the game there. That was kind of.
Jalen rolls his ankle, you would just lose right now, wouldn't you? Right? I'm looking at Bobby, right? He's smiling at me like, yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, that's always going to be in the back of people's minds going into this whole thing. But I think what the NBA is trying to do is obviously change things up in the sense that the beginning's gonna feel weird. It's gonna feel so different because just the NBA has never done anything like this. But they're hoping that this is gonna,
We're
in
not
the
gonna
end,
here, folks.
right? In the end, something that the fans and the teams get into. And I think just naturally from a competitive standpoint, that's what's going to happen to a lot of these teams, especially the top-notch teams like the Boston Celtics. Now, Joe Mazzulla can go into this one like he did with his poker face and saying that it didn't mean anything. He's not taking much stock into it. But when it comes down to it, when the opportunity is there, your competitive side is going to take over. And I think that's what the NBA was betting on when they came up with this whole thing. And obviously, guys had to sign on to it or at least agree with it. And out of the 30 teams, if 4 or 8 advance, those are the teams that is going to obviously be the last one standing. But I think that's when you're going to get really more of that competitive basketball where you're seeing matchups between teams that you wouldn't necessarily see at this time of the year. And that's, again, what the NBA is aiming for. Jaylen Brown giving us some insight in Philadelphia right before the second game when he said, ratings wise, the NBA is at its lowest at this time of the year. And, it makes sense for the league to want to try to do something like this. So I'm into it. I mean, obviously now it's easier to say that, right? I mean, I think a lot of the time people are going to feel the same way. And then they see their team, in it, and they see what's on the line in the sense of necessarily not just the money for the players, but it's also some bragging rights, right? It's also some, play for pride, show who's the top notch at this point of the season. And I think if you're the Boston Celtics, you have to feel a little bit of that, right? Especially if you're one of the better teams and you came out of the gates with such a focus, high level focus. And I think that carries over. I really do. You know what, Jimmy? Just imagine if this was happening in 2007. Like that year, just that year in particular, right? Where obviously the Celtics won the title, but that was the first year that KG, Ray, and Pierce all came together. Like they would have loved something like this. Like what?
They didn't need it, Josue.
They didn't, but
this.
To have the green light, to have Doc Rivers go in there and say, guys, you got to beat them by 25. They would be like, oh, bet, let's go. Like KG was going to treat every single minute like it's the last.
They were already doing that. Are you kidding me? They had everybody's
right. But the competitive nature, like that competitive spirit, takes over.
They wanted to spend $500,000 in one night. I'm sure.
That's the thing though. See, that's pure competitiveness, right? Because if it's about the money, then that takes away everything. Like to me, it's beyond that, but only for the teams that are at this level. So if you're the Boston Celtics, you're obviously one of those teams, and if you're able to go out there and send a message to the league, and obviously build your self-confidence up, build your team morale up at the same time, sign me up. Why not?
Where is this lower third here that I'm looking for?
Yeah, I want to see what Joe Mazzulla had to say because he had such a poker face before this one, and it got to the point where everyone is just thinking, man, the team, if they really want this, they're gonna have to go out there and get it because Joe Mazzulla is not going to give them that opportunity. But when the opportunity was there in that fourth quarter, you really thought he was going to clear his bench. No, man, he went for it. That's what you're supposed to do.
I know. And you know what, Josue? Ask and you shall receive. We have Joe Mazzulla after the game tonight talking about his thought process for this tournament.
What's up, Joey?
Tell yourself, like, Joe, this isn't important. Then suddenly it became important, or were you not telling us the truth? Like, what went from...
It's a process. It's a process. So I took in all the information, and I didn't handle it emotionally, and I sat it and stored it in whatever part of my brain that stores information, and I waited to see if I was going to need it or not. And so, I don't know going into a game that we're going to be up 23. We could be down 15 because that's a distraction because we're trying to be up 23. And then you're going to be like, was your team distracted by the 23-point lead? And I'm going to have to be like, no, Gary, they weren't, when they really were. And so, you have to eliminate distractions and focus on winning in the process towards winning. And so that's the most important thing. And so our team was focused on winning. And then and what I love about our team is we've sucked in the third quarter, and we didn't today. And then they call a timeout at 7 minutes to go, and we go on another run. And so we were able to build mental resilience while having a lead. And then we did it again at the start of the fourth quarter. And so that pocket of the game is super important for the longevity of our team because we have to be better at playing with leads and playing when the game is technically when we think it's over. And so that part is important. And then so when the process brings you to, okay, you're at 30, what do you want to do? I want to get stops. So then you do what we did. And I apologize to Andre Drummond for doing that. But it gave us the best chance considering the circumstances we were in.
The longest, talk about it, the longest excuse of someone that could just easily have said like I didn't want to talk about it, you know. But like you can't do that in the beginning of the game, so I get that. Like I understand you can't like say that, but like that's what it boils down to. Like, he just didn't want to talk about it. He hates any type of distraction. He's like, no, don't keep that away from my team. No, that's funny.
It's interesting because these coaches, this is new for them too. Like they've never been in a situation in the NBA, anyways, where there is an in-season where there's a reason to have, your starting lineup in the game up 30 in the fourth quarter. You've never had that reason to do that before. And so now you're kind of stuck in this tough situation where you want to obviously do what the players want, which is they want to win this game and they want to win by a certain amount because they want to advance. But you also want to make the right decision for the long-term benefit of the team. And you're weighing those things. There's money on the line. I think even the coaches get money too. So, how much of that is them coaching for some extra bucks there? How much of that is them trying to do what's best? So there's a lot of
extra vacation,
a lot of balls in the air here, right? So I think at the end of the day, it worked out. I think Missoula's telling the truth. It's situational. You have to see how things are going. If they were down, or if it was a close game, obviously if it's a close game, you're still gonna have the starters in there,
right?
But at some point you have to say, okay, we have a real shot at hitting that number 23, right?
Right, and plus, Jimmy, the other side of that coin, right? Like if he goes out there and like, you know what, we're going for it, guys, we got to do it, and then the Celtics either lose or they win by like 7, he's gonna go back up there and be like, well, I mean, he has to comb through those questions of, well, what did you change about your game plan to go out there and want to, to enable your team to win by 20 plus, what went wrong, or like what was your, like those type of questions. Joey hates that. Like he doesn't want to have to explain himself about something that it was a decision that was premeditated going in. So he did the right thing. I mean, like he said, you go through the motions. You know what? It would actually go against everything he's been preaching since day one, right? Where he always talks about in-game situations and all that stuff. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like you go into the situation, and again, if the opportunity's there, you're gonna go for it. I'm just happy he did that because he had me fooled. He had a lot of us fooled in that pregame presser when he just says it's not something he's going for.
Presser, Josue?
He literally
heard it.
Verbatim goes 0 when he says how important, or your how much stock you put into this game and having to beat a team by 23 plus. He said zero stock going into it, which probably truthful, right? I mean, it's not like he went into the game,
right,
telling everyone, or at least like playing, or at least having a game plan set up that way. But he could have easily pulled his starters at the 6-minute mark, 8-minute mark, right, 7-minute mark. So I think that part is where he's saying he's going for. That's the message he sent, and I think it's the right thing. I just think it's something that it's very Joe Mazzulla. When you think about what he's been preaching from day one about in-game situations and just being ready to react to anything that pops up.
Yeah, and there's definitely some truth to what Joe is saying. You can't just go in saying, all right, let's win by 30, because it's like going up to bat and you're down 6 and you're trying to score 6 runs with one swing. Like you got to play the game the way you play it to get yourself in that position. So you just got to keep playing your style of basketball, and if you play the right way, lo and behold, you'll win by 30 or whatever it is. But you can't go in saying we need to do this in order to win by this amount. So I can see why he would pregame try to downplay it, want his guys to approach the game the same way they would approach any game that they want to win and play well in. And then midway through, or at some point during that second half, the staff or Joe or the players come to the realization that, okay, we've put ourselves in a position to hit that number and let's go for it. And why not? So I see where he's coming from, where you can't just say from, the jump, we're going to win by 24 tonight, because then you're pressing, you're forcing things, you're overthinking things. You're trying to play hero ball if you're, one of the scorers on the team. And we've seen that before, and it doesn't end well. So right approach tonight, and it worked out. So they advanced to what is this? The knockout round. There it is, right there on the screen there. We don't know who they're going to play yet. I think Josue, you said the next game is either Tuesday or Wednesday. Don't worry, guys. Bobby will have
Tuesday
this
or
whole
Wednesday.
thing. Bobby will have this whole thing broken down for us. So why don't we save a little bit of that convo for when he gets here? Josue, there was a game tonight other than the fact that they advanced.
Yeah.
And they got 30 points from good friend Jaylen Brown. Thought he was great tonight on both ends, but especially in transition, just getting out 12 of 23 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, and a plus 22. And there's been some criticism going around about his effectiveness, I think, in certain lineups, and I'm bringing that up because he was a plus 22 tonight. So clearly positive effect when he was in the game.
Yeah, and you saw that on both ends of the floor. Just very active, getting into the passing lane, and just really treating this like a playoff game. And I don't mean that to try to say like, oh, Jaden doesn't do this all the time, but you just want to see more of it and just see it on a consistent level on both ends. I mean, this is a throwback game, right? No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I mean, Jalen's efficient overall, but he's always been known to shoot, anywhere around 50% from the floor, and that's what we got tonight, right? 52%, 12 of 23. When the 3-point shot wasn't falling, he started to do other things, and that's exactly what you want to see out of Jalen. Did catch him do a couple of hockey assists,
Okay.
Here in the Celtics Postgame Show. We keep a close eye on that. We should probably put that into a box score or something. But no, I mean, like, that's the stuff.
Track that.
That's the stuff he might actually. He might start doing. If he hasn't, he might start doing it after the show.
Yep.
But that's the kind of stuff you want to see out of Jalen. And the rest of the team, man, just everything just sort of fell into place. You saw Drew Holiday just sort of see everyone was feeling it, clicking. And he's like, you know what, I'm just going to get my shots here and there, but you guys do your thing, right? He was just like being more of a facilitator and on-ball defender, and just
thoughts on Drew tonight,
keeping the Bulls at bay. Yeah, for sure. He looked good, man. He looked good. I was a little concerned, but he's back. So
is your nerve number down a little bit? You're at 6, I think, last game.
I switched it to a 4 immediately.
Okay. Okay. When you recalibrated to a 4. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again,
Porzingis is still on the bench, but we could talk about that another day.
It was a great holiday night. 14, 7, and 9 for him. I mean, that's perfect, right? I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Turnovers. What did he have? 3 turnovers. So, you'd like those to tick down a little bit, but that's going to happen from time to time. But certainly a better game than he had prior to going down with that injury. He had a couple of tough ones there. Some people, I won't name names, but Bobby was saying that he was reminding him of Marcus Smart, which I thought was kind of mean. But there's Holiday's line there.
It was kind of mean. I don't think that was justified.
Plus 19 from him. And then, you had you had one of those Celtics games that it just felt like they were clicking, and just clearly, I mean, the Bulls are no real match or contender for a team like the Celtics. They're not going to be a team that we're going to be talking about, a few months from now, to put it lightly. They just aren't. And one of the things I was kicking myself about, Josue, and I said this in our chat, I don't know what the line was going into tonight. I don't remember I don't know what the line was, but when you have a situation where if the Celtics are playing for something in terms of scoring by a certain amount of points,
right,
you kind of eliminate.
I felt like a gambler today.
Yeah, you kind of eliminate, or you greatly reduce the chance of a backdoor cover because the starters are going in there longer. They're trying to win by as many points as they can, and you don't just put the bench in with 6 minutes left in the game, and watch them watch the lead dwindle down to 8 from 20. So kind of kicking myself about that. I think that's something that we should look at next year, something we should consider. I think
Are you looking for some easy money, Jimmy?
Yeah,
right.
Vegas is trying to figure that out. But speaking of all that gambling talk, let's talk about our good friends at FanDuel.
Oh, nice.
Because right now, hold on, let me get this big thing out. There it is. Because right now, you can get $150 in bonus bets when you place a winning $5 money line bet. I thought that
big thing would help you.
I know. I should have put it up there and just gotten up and walked away, but we'll just keep it going. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston. Again, guys, it's a $150 bonus bet when you place a winning $5 money line bet. It can be on the Celtics. It can be on whoever the Patriots are playing in any given week, because we know that they aren't going to win that game. So next week or this week coming up, it's going to be the Chargers. So you want to go ahead and place a $5 bet on the Chargers. And when you win that money line bet, you get $150 in bonus bets. So again, that's our good friends at FanDuel. And I will go ahead and put up this big graphic here so you
I
guys
like it.
you can read the fine print and see that you got to be 21 plus and you got to be present in Massachusetts and all that other good stuff. So again, thank you to FanDuel for being a great sponsor, guys. And if you haven't signed up yet, please do support us. This is a free show, damn it. And the reason
I know, right?
why that is because we have great sponsors like FanDuel and some other ones that you guys hear about. So we do appreciate
And we're nice too, right, Jimmy?
and
We're
we're
not
nice
like,
and we're
you know,
nice.
we're not gonna do a Patreon or
And,
anything like that.
and we do all our food shopping off super chats. So if we don't get super chats in a given week, we just don't eat that week. So
Ooh,
yeah,
HelloFresh is coming tomorrow.
that's okay. I'm just kidding.
Just
That's not
reminding
true.
me.
That's not true, guys. Oh, that's true. We got HelloFresh coming. All right, I stand
It's
corrected.
kind of true. It's kind of true.
Yeah, I stand corrected. What else, Josue? You were there with Bobby tonight. Were you guys sitting near each other, or were you guys?
Yeah, we were, man. Bobby was freaking out. He had
Was he? He had
the
the Nets
games
going
going. Oh yeah, you already know. We had the whole we had everything covered. The spread throughout that second half. And yeah, I mean, I just felt like the Celtics, it was if anything, for anything that's in their control, they were going to take care of. You got that sense by halftime. During our halftime hit video, I was like, man, this is, it's not entirely up to them. So we can't say it's set in stone here, but obviously the Brooklyn Nets did their part, and so did the New York Knicks. So yeah, I just feel like when the Celtics are when they rise to the challenge like that, and whether it's in-season tournament or not, I mean, this is the kind of outcome you get. But especially, Jimmy, when they're making 20 plus 3-pointers, man. I feel like that's like the
season high, right?
Yeah, well, I just feel like in general it was like 18, 19, 20, I don't know, somewhere around there, 17, 20, like that's really their kind of their sweet spot. And I don't mean like they have to hit that just in order for them to win, but when they're shooting at that rate and the offense is clicking, when most of the time it is, because the two sort of go hand in hand, especially against this Bulls team. This is what you get. You get a blowout win, and you get like 5 guys scoring in double figures, man. Like this is easy, even on a night when you don't have Kristaps Porzingis, which I'm going to continue to keep an eye on, because I just think it's important. I want to see this team have nights like this without Porzingis, especially if we're talking up to a week or potentially more, depending on how his body responds. But we don't want to have to be crossing our fingers for the next report saying this team really needs him to come back. This is the kind of game you want to see from the Celtics team without Porzingis, and they certainly delivered tonight.
And they had Porzingis on the broadcast and actually sounded like he was in good spirits. He actually said that he's having the most fun or the best time he's ever had, in the league, at this age.
No, he doesn't even have to
on this
tell us,
team.
man. Like,
You
we're
can
not
see it,
exaggerating. When people say it, yeah, man, like he just doesn't stop smiling. Like, especially when he comes out to do his pregame routine, and obviously the crowd's going and everything, but like while he's going through it, he just loves this environment, this atmosphere, and he talks about it any chance he gets, especially on the marquee matchup nights. And almost felt like he did mention the New York Knicks, his first couple of years, and how there was some of that going on, especially with the crowd and all that and that type of environment. But overall, he's like, there's really nothing like this. It's contagious. It really gets me going. And when someone had a follow-up question about the technical fouls thing, he's like, you know what? Maybe I'm just getting too hype up. I'm too excited and my body language, and it's just referees are quick to give me a technical foul to calm me down. But that was the best way he could describe it.
I love that. Listen, I mean, I've said it on this show for years and years, and I was saying it years before the show. Give me guys who are emotional, who show passion out there, who want to play hard, who wear their heart on their sleeve. I'm not saying do it in a way that hurts the team, but I think anyone who is from the Boston area or follows, kind of like the Boston sports scene knows,
or even if they lived here for like 4 years, right? Like if you've spent a handful of years here, right?
Knows that fans gravitate towards players who are passionate and who take pride in putting on the jersey, regardless of the sport. They care more about the name on the front than the name on the back. And so far, that's kind of how you get that impression with Porzingis. And he's buying in. It definitely seems like he's hitting it off with some teammates. We've heard all about the relationship with Jaylen Brown. They're carpool buddies and all that stuff, and they live in the same building, and that's great because the more like on the same page you can get with your teammates and become friends and finish each other's
sentences.
There you go, Josue. The more you can do those things, the better off you're going to be. And we see it on the court. And we're not seeing it obviously with Porzingis right now, but you've seen it with Holiday, for example. I mean, he comes back onto the team tonight, and they don't skip a beat. He has a really solid game. They take care of business. I mean, you've got more, I think, much more stable starting lineup when you've got Holiday in there. And so, that pushes one of the bench guys, back to the bench, which I think we can all agree is a good thing. Banton went back to the bench tonight, 14 minutes, 5 points. And, he was actually a plus 10 tonight, but, the bench needs all the heads they can get. Right. So, you had Pritchard gave you 22 minutes tonight, 11 points, and Hauser still doing his thing, Josue, still throwing down dunks.
Sam loves that, man. Like when
he's addicted to the dunk game now.
When he got that alley-oop last week, he was like, "Hey, I do this." Like back in my day, like he's had to sort of explain himself. Like, "Hey, I can. This is not new to me." So tonight, man, when he threw that thing down, he looked like just a little kid, like with the 50-50 excitement and 50-50
went crazy.
Like, hey, look at me. Like, you saw that, right? Like, I don't know, man. It was great. It was a great moment for Sam. I'm happy for him.
Nice dunk right off the rebound.
It's not just 3-pointers with you, Sam. I like it. I love it. I'm a believer now. It wasn't a fluke last week. I get it.
3 of 12 from the field.
Yeah.
2 of 10 from 3. I mean, I wouldn't say that's the line you want to see every night.
No,
but
I'm saying at this point, Jimmy, either way, send this guy to All-Star Saturday night, man. Like, whether he's in the 3-point contest or the dunk contest, shit, put him in both if that's how he feels. Why not?
First player to win them both.
I mean, you solidify a rotation spot. You're creeping into opposing teams' scouting reports. You're throwing it down. That one's gonna make SportsCenter. Maybe a couple more dunks. He'll pop up on the NBA's radar. But yeah, man, great night for Hauser.
Here we go. What do we got here? Super chat from V Tony Vicente. Thank you. He said, thought it was pretty funny when JT was encouraging Banton to make a risky assist between traffic. It's the Celtics way, I guess. So I don't know if I saw that one.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that was the old, hey man, give me the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
The third string guard forward. Give me the ball. It's my turn.
Little peer pressure. Do what I say if you want to get out there and play.
You trying to go to Vegas, right? Give me the ball. I don't know, something like that.
I think we're all trying to go to Vegas now. It's starting to get real. I might have to go to Vegas if this happens.
Let's do
it. Anyway, speaking of Vegas,
Jimmy in Vegas. You been to Vegas?
I've been to Vegas once. They don't let me back though. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say you gotta tell me that story. Probably off there.
That one. I went with B-Rob. I went with B-Rob way back in the day, actually.
What?
Yeah, we went to Summer League together.
Yo, I gotta hear that story.
Great.
Is this single B-Rob?
Everybody's single in Vegas, Joseph.
Maybe he just got married. Oh, it was that kind of trip. Oh, damn, Jimmy.
No,
we talk about that.
Kidding. I'm just kidding.
Patreon episode coming out. Check it out.
I'm just kidding.
That one was selling.
Celtics at Pacers on Monday, according to Bobby Manning, who is breaking news. Bobby, that is going to be the next matchup.
Looks like we got Derek White. Looks like he spoke, so we'll have a clip from him coming up.
Cool. We got a little Derek White clip, but that is going to be the next. I guess, tournament game. Celtics at Pacers on Monday. So a little bit of Halliburton there, I guess, coming back. So it'll be
man, he's been balling. That's NBA's or Eastern Conference Player of the Week, Halliburton. Excuse you, Jimmy.
Is he? I missed that.
Man. Tyrese has been balling.
Oh, I know he's been balling. I didn't know that he got the.
So someone put up a graphic. It wasn't like Stat News or somebody, but like some NBA page put up a graphic that compared his numbers to who was it? Westbrook's MVP season. I'm like, all right, hold on a second. Like, it's way too soon. Like those numbers, and his were clearly, obviously better. As you can imagine, we're 17 games into the regular season. So I'm like, all right, you gotta wait till at least a half season point to compare MVP numbers, right? Like that's a whole season worth. So, but hey, Tyrese is balling right now. I don't know where he stands in the MVP conversation.
Oh, he's up there, dude. He's up
this
there
early.
right now.
But is that really like that? That happens.
There's no convo right now, but he's
okay,
he's
all right, good.
Straight up. Yeah,
all right. So we're on the same page because there are sites that do that. It's like
you can bet on it right now. I bet
all they need is 3 weeks, and they want to start listing like who's in the running for MVP. It's like, really? Come on, man. We got 82 games of this, and we haven't even gotten into the in-season tournament. Jeez.
I know it's crazy, but this is the gambling world we live in. If I go to NBA
I
odds
know.
right now,
So true.
and I go to NBA awards, here we go, awards, NBA regular season MVP. Where is
Halliburton's like fourth.
He's not even on the list, dude. I guess we're just
Yeah.
idiots. Oh, here he is. He's plus 4,000. He's plus 4,000 right now. So you bet 100 to win 4,000. The favorite right now is Jokic at plus 200, to give you an idea of how far away Halliburton is from the conversation. And our friend Jason Tatum is fourth right now at plus 850. So,
all right, those numbers will change.
Embiid is right above him at plus 700. Sixers come to town on Friday. We have a very important super chat to post up right here, Josue.
Oh, shoot. What we got?
This is from the Nick Josue himself.
Is it nice? Shoot.
He wants everybody to know he's paying $10. He's paying $9.99 to say this. He sat immediately behind Joe Mazzulla's wife tonight. Seriously. In case you think he was joking, he's serious about it.
That's awesome. That means he got some dope seats.
That's all. We're not going to say anything else more about that other than Nick felt the need to share that. Nick, congratulations.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
I hope you didn't say anything too embarrassing that Mrs. Mazzulla could overhear. You might need to move your seat in the future.
I didn't even think about that, Jimmy. Yeah, shit. I'm thinking about if he said something to her face, but the things he's saying just in general might have been way worse. But no, hopefully that wasn't the case. Hopefully. Well, but I'll put it this way. Hopefully he knew the whole time where he was saying, right? Like,
I think he had to.
If he didn't, he might have slipped up.
It's all about that celeb lifestyle. So
But then again, look, the Celtics they did what they were supposed to. So he probably kept this somewhat PG. If they lost and they were playing horribly, oh man, he's a swear galore.
We promised a Derek White bite. We are going to deliver on a Derek White bite, answering if money is an incentive for the players to play harder. You gonna lie? You gonna lie, D White, or what? You gonna lie?
I gotta ask you about the money, the prize money. Is it an incentive to play harder in the in-season tournament?
I mean, it's obviously going to be nice. Anytime you get extra money, it's going to be nice, and it's something to shoot for, especially some guys that are early in their career or whatnot. So, it's definitely something that I think maybe some guys are thinking about more than others, and it's definitely going to be nice to have.
Translation: hell yeah,
money is money.
Helps.
Money is money.
If somebody said, "Here's 500, you get $500,000 if you do this," damn right, it's gonna be an incentive to go ahead and do it.
Man. I don't care how rich you are, man. Do not insult us by going up there and being like, $500,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something for you peasants, but not for me.
Yeah. Now,
Appreciate
if you
you,
want to ask Nathan Knight or something on the team, like, he's gonna be like, hell yeah, it's incentive. These dudes better ball out, hit that number. I wish we could just have bench cam for these games just to see them be like, yes.
Right? Derek just like pauses for like 10 seconds, just like, why don't you go ask Banton that or something like that? No.
I wonder what happens like if let's say you're not in the league right now, but you just you signed a 10-day or whatever it is, you signed a contract, you're on the team for the remainder of the year. You get that money too, or do you have to be
I know
on the team like at the start of the year, or do you have to be on the team just when they win the game? Like,
will Gabriel get a check? Yeah, good question.
If you get sent to Maine, like the game before,
Walsh should get a check. No, I mean he did get called up.
I don't know.
He did get called up, but regardless, I would think so. Like he was in it from the beginning. You know what I mean? It's like the guy who gets the championship ring, even though he got traded in like November. You know, he still gets a ring.
Right.
He still gets a ring.
Absolutely, he should get a ring. But then
NBA is like, no, a ring and this $500,000. No, absolutely.
And then like 15 years later, you see that like former champion is selling his ring, and you're like, who? And then you look and it's like, that dude was on the team. I don't even remember his name.
Gabe Pruitt?
Yeah, I was just gonna say Gabe Pruitt. Dude. Just gonna say that. Gabe Pruitt is selling his ring.
Gabe Pruitt, man.
We should try to get Gabe Pruitt on the show. He probably has some good stories.
Oh, he definitely. I want to hear all of the bus ride, plane ride stories. I want those just exclusively, like especially from him because he was probably paying more attention than the other.
He was probably just watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get in this game. I'm not gonna play this.
But look at these 3 future Hall of Famers who I grew up watching just put together this championship run. Like he must have been loving it.
Oh, we got some.
Jay Pruitt. Youngins don't know, man. You had to be there.
I guess Jaylen Brown's currently speaking on this tournament and might not be as positive on it as other people are, but we'll get that clip over to you guys at some point too. Amit is working hard behind the scenes, clipping vids, getting quotes, doing all the dirty work for us. So we appreciate you, Amit. And it sounds like Jaylen Brown has a quote worth putting up at some point too. I know Bobby is probably in that interview, or
I thought you were gonna say that was the quote.
He was getting Drew. He was getting Drew.
Oh, okay.
He said, and then he was coming on. So we'll wait for him. Xanis, I thought Xanis might do a surprise appearance, but you know why he's not? Because
because they won.
He'd have to do apology cam right now and apologize for his in-season tournament take. I think so. He's not going to want to do that.
I think I would bet $500,000 that he probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
There's no way he says that's apology cam worthy.
You'll never see an apology cam from John, I don't think, which is fine.
If Jaylen wins MVP, yes, probably. Maybe.
Like I said, you'll never get one.
All right, fair enough.
What else we got tonight? I see a lower third of Horford here.
Yeah, man, Horford
game tonight, man. Horford's your boy.
It was like whenever the Bulls forgot about him, there was another 3 going through the net, you know. And then you had 3 blocks, man. The guy was just
turned it back again.
Yeah, man. Like every time he's on the floor, it was just that same type of energy, and then you're seeing that a little bit with Luke. I like this spin move he did with these. Well, he's been working on it.
Getting swaggy a little bit. Okay.
So when he gets caught on the switch. And the guard's like, oh, I'm going to break this guy's ankle or whatever. Right when he goes past him, he does this like spin move and meets him at the rim. And he did that a couple of times. The first one was a success. The second one was a foul. And I think it's just something he's working on when he gets caught on the switch with shorter guards, quicker guards, I should say. He's able to give him enough space, but meet him at the rim at the same time, so to speak. People who watch the game tonight know what I'm talking about, but. I think that type of stuff is what's going to keep Cornette on the floor, especially in those short stints that I personally think are beneficial for the Celtics, especially throughout this week or week and a half without Kristaps Porzingis. But yeah, man, Al set the tone for sure, and you saw that carry over with the second unit.
Facts, my dog. No, I'm just kidding. I was
gonna say that. Now that's like, yeah. What the hell was you just saying? That's what I hear now.
I can't do that when it's just me and you. I had to actually pay attention to that time. But.
I don't think you can do it with Sanders now. We done established this.
So here's the thing. Facts, my dog. It's not always I'm not paying attention. Sometimes, and I said this to somebody in the YouTube comments because I do go back and forth on the YouTube comments after the show sometimes. Next day. Facts, my dog. Sometimes is I just agree with what you said. So instead of just repeating the same thing, just go facts, my dog. Like facts. Like that's true.
See, Jimmy, that's how I use it. But
that's how I use it sometimes. And other times, I'll be honest, like I just spaced out for like a minute and there's dead air and I just go facts, my dog. Because
can't relate, bro.
That's me pretending
spacing out is not one of my things, you know.
I actually have no idea what you just said. Yeah, no, definitely not.
See, you just spaced out too.
But yeah,
I always double down on what was just said. That's what it is.
Horford had a great game, but Horford's one of those guys where it's like, okay, are we trying to limit his minutes, or are we trying to win this in-season tournament? I don't want to harp on it, but that's the struggle I have with trying to figure out if it's a good or a bad thing, right? If you care about winning the tournament, if you genuinely care about winning the tournament and you're a fan, then fine.
Right. Well, Jimmy, if you want,
I guess where I'm at is if you
want to line up a big fat "I told you so," we could do that. That's fine.
No, I don't. I just don't know where you draw the line, because at the end of the regular season or halfway through the playoffs, are you going to say, "Oh, well, these guys are tired. It's a long season. They played and this many minutes and this and that," or are you going to rest enough towards the back end of it where it's not going to matter? I don't know. I guess these are all things that These are just questions that I ask. I just got to ask the questions, guys. I'm not
Yeah.
saying one way or the other if it was the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm just saying it's a thing. And then you guys can determine for yourselves what you think. That's all. That's all. That's all I'm doing, Josue. Trying to balance the older guys with trying to win the in-season tournament. It seems like it might be a big sacrifice in the end. If you don't, for the teams that don't win, you go all the way there, you don't win. No one's going to remember the loser of the first
The team that
in-season
lost.
tournament. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know, a little bit of a sacrifice or a risk that you have to give to do it. But
Yeah, I mean,
players
I
are
just
clearly in. The players are clearly in, and if they're in, then
well, yeah, I think
what are they gonna do?
the biggest reason for that is that all of these games are counting towards the regular season record, right? So, well, besides the championship game, so maybe that's the part where you gonna raise the teams gonna have to, decide what's most important. Do you
Right.
keep your guy on the bench? Do you continue to rest or rehab a particular player, even though you have a good shot of winning this whole thing? That's a tricky situation. But I mean, at the same time, though, if you're the Celtics, you're going to approach it the way you sort of approach this game, right? Maybe at the end of that fourth quarter, all these guys are healthy. You're not going to rush Porzingis back and throw him in there. At least I don't think the Celtics would, unless they 100% felt like he was, healthy enough to participate. So I just think when the games are counting towards your final regular season record, I think that's enough incentive. That's enough incentive for guys to take this thing seriously, and that's enough for them to say whoever they're playing against, we have to put our best foot forward and go out there and compete. That's really what it boils down to. And if guys say one thing but then act on another when they're in that situation, then again, that's a lot of that. That's just the competitiveness taking over. That's the competitive side of most NBA players, especially if you're playing on one of these top tier teams. And if you're still in this thing heading to Vegas, then you're, at least right now, you're one of the top tier teams in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, look, I just think the Celtics, not that they surprised themselves, but just given the sort of the odds going into tonight, I think they feel accomplished. I feel like they're like, man, we did what we were supposed to do. I do think that they think of themselves as the best team in the NBA. I think that we still believe that, with or without Porzingis. And this is what those teams do. They take care of these games.
We're gonna go into a soundbite in a second, but I want to ask you first, Josue.
What's up?
Was it strange tonight watching one team just run up the score? I guess with their starters late in the game. It's not something that you see often.
Yeah, a little bit. It was. It just had that sort of real feel to it because you're seeing all of the end of the bench guys on their feet and cheering. And it's just like, wait, you guys supposed to be playing right now. So yeah, it was a little weird. It was a little weird.
All right, we're gonna Bobby, stay right there. Don't stop. Don't say a peep. We're gonna get Jrue Holiday right now talking about this.
Right before the end of
You're so rude.
end of your game, it was only 5.
I don't know. I guess maybe there's some things I don't agree with, but also that there's rules, and we also want to win. We want to make the tournament and have the best seat that we can. So I don't like it, but I understand it.
What part of it do you not like? Just kind of running up the score?
Yeah, running up the score. I get the point differential, but it just feels weird. Kind of like you kind of disrespecting the game and your opponent, especially when, obviously they do what they want. They didn't have their starters in, but, it just, like I said, it feels weird, but I also understand it.
And so do the basketball gods, Drew. Don't you worry about it. Basketball gods understand it.
Interesting. Jrue Holiday with some, I don't know, different sort
Hot
of
take. Hot take.
Different sort of take there on the in-season tournament. We'll bring in.
Wow.
Yo. Just like that.
Did he want the first say? Maybe that's what it was.
I was just going to bring in Bobby very professionally.
I was just going to give you a hard time for yelling at him before we went to that clip.
Try that again.
I don't know what to do now.
We're going to bring in Bobby here to discuss those comments from Jrue. Bobby, I think you were there for those, but why don't we start with, what's your reaction to those Jrue comments, and then take us through just your overall thoughts on the Celtics advancing in this tournament.
I understand the comments. Obviously, a lot of guys in this league are friends, have good relationships. Even Joe, after the game, I think, wanted to stay on good terms with both Billy Donovan, who we talked to in the hallway after his presser, as well as Andre Drummond, who we made a pretty concerted effort. Bulls PR were trying to set up a meeting between Drummond and Missoula right after the pressers. So a lot of effort on the Celtics side to, maintain relations with the Bulls there, because they clearly didn't want to do this. And Joe had signaled before the game that they weren't going to do it. And then, of course, as I'm sure you guys hit on, that he decided once they were in that range to go for it. So I understand all the players' perspectives. Jalen just said he's not crazy about it either. Derek didn't have a strong opinion on it, but I loved it. And in fact,
we know. We know.
I'm sure Josue told you just how excited I was sitting there, going through all the scores.
A couple monitors going.
Yep, I was counting up math on the fly.
Bobby, you had the spectators like coming over to go get a look at the score. They were like looking at your laptop.
Stadium looking over his shoulder.
Yeah. They're like, Bobby's got it, guys. Come through. They're like, man.
I was talking to Nick at halftime, trying to teach him, and even I didn't fully grasp it. So
trying to teach him.
Obviously, this is insanely.
We were all learning tonight.
It was insanely confusing. No one could understand it other than like one handful of writers. So they got to figure out not only how to curb doing something that the players don't want to do here in the running up the scores and making fans understand the scenarios more. I think the easy solution is just to have more games. I mean, there shouldn't be a 50-way tie at the end of this thing for the last spot like there was pretty much tonight.
It's a good
point,
yeah.
I think you should play every team in your division twice, probably extend it out a little bit, maybe closer to Christmas. I don't know, but this was great. Sitting here trying to figure it out. The fourth quarter of this blowout game that we'd all be falling asleep through or just going to get a snack during, being as exhilarating as it was, is exactly what the NBA was looking for here. And it really went right down the wire. They won by 27 after needing to win by 23. Bulls made a couple of runs there. They had a hack Drummond. There was some real strategy going into it in this fourth quarter blowout. Starters are running back to the scorers table. It was wacky. It was fun. This is a game that, Jimmy, you probably would have skipped if there was no stakes here. So this is great. This is exactly what the NBA was looking for here.
I love this idea. Look at this comment. The final should be the Christmas Day game. That would be sick.
Something like that.
That would be cool. That would really get players to want to play, though, because everyone wants. Well, I'm not sure. Do players want to play on Christmas? Some probably do, and some probably don't. That might be hard. Anyway.
Well, it's hard because the NBA has to have that slate of games, and you can't predict who's gonna unless you do it on the fly. Unless you make that schedule weeks before.
You could just make one. Yeah, that's true. Because
maybe have all 8 teams. Make sure that their arenas are available. I guess for that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Jimmy, let me put it this way.
Never mind. Stupid idea. Just kidding. It was good.
This was one of the most fun games I've ever covered.
Oh shit!
Here we go. Just stop. Probably just stop.
It was. It was.
Just stop. You've been to many playoff games.
There's some reporter covering the Pistons right now that's
been to Celtics, Lakers.
Who hasn't even covered a playoff game in years.
Yeah, dude. You need to just. You know what? I wish I knew how to tango you for that comment, Bobby, but I won't.
No,
let that one slide.
Let him cook. Let him cook. Go ahead, Bobby.
I wish you could navigate the betting.
All right, Bobby. Bobby, explain yourself. Explain why. Because you were fumbling over the scores on the other games.
Yes.
That's why.
Watch another game. This was like the last day of the regular season where you're trying to see if you're getting in the playoffs. That's exciting to me. There were so many games that had consequence to it. You're juggling 2 scenarios, and then you're trying to see the sideline figure it out. Like Joe turned to the bench at one point and clearly asked someone what was going on, and then you saw the players start piling back into the game there. And honestly, Jimmy, we didn't know coming in whether or not they'd go for this. So when they did, it was a big surprising moment. And I'll say it again, that fourth quarter would have just been one of the most boring quarters of the season otherwise. But instead,
they've blown many fourth quarters the Celtics have. I mean, don't just assume that it wouldn't have been interesting in some other way.
I'm just sad we're never going to get the whole.
In fact, it would have been a closer fourth quarter, Bobby. It would have been, in some cases, Bulls fans may have been more interested in it.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
if the Celtics didn't pull this off, I feel like Bobby would have been like, man, This thing, I don't think it's gonna work.
A lot of
The
issues.
NBA's got to get rid of this
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I'm sitting there watching 4 games, like, oh, what is this? Like you would have been.
No,
I mean, you are saying that they need to change
Yeah.
this a bit. There has to be
Yeah,
some sort of
no, they need to make it
modifications,
more
but, yeah.
fan friendly and of course more player friendly because obviously there's as,
More user friendly. Jeez, I don't think anyone
Yeah,
can
speaking of-
understand this thing.
Speaking of player friendly, we got a clip here from Jaylen Brown, who I guess we'll just let you guys listen to it since I don't know what the hell he said anyways.
Tough because I mean that's just not how the game is supposed to be played. One, you got to respect your opponents, and two, like it's just weird setup. We understand the rules, but like if I was another team, I'd be upset as well if we were doing the hacker drumming in the middle of the fourth quarter. But our coaching staff made their decisions, and we stick with it.
How do you feel about the kind of the change in thinking?
Personally, I don't really have a comment on it. I think that the agenda has been to try to increase competition, to increase revenue, to kind of make it, I guess more exciting during this time of year. But I don't have a comment, but I will say that honestly, if it's a line between increasing excitement, revenue, notoriety, whatever, and compromising ethics and of the game, and it's a balance. This is kind of the first that we've kind of seen this, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of conversations going around that'll get to some decisions, but that's all I'll say about it.
it's an interesting point. Is it gimmicky, Jimmy?
Well, obviously it's gimmicky. I mean, it's this whole
But
thing.
everybody's doing it.
But here's the thing. But here's what I'll say. There's a different mentality for these games than there are the regular season games, and you have to go in there knowing that if you're either side, if you're taking it personal and you're gonna be pouting and crying and all this stuff, then toughen up. It's nothing personal. This is what needs to be done,
Especially the coach.
Yeah, especially the coaches need to understand the situation more than anybody. This is
So
what the
Billy
NBA
Donovan was confused at one point in the fourth quarter, and
Well,
Joe and
shame
him
on
had a
him.
talk. Yeah,
Shame
Joe and
on
him had
Billy
a talk.
Donovan. I mean, that's in my opinion, that's inexcusable. Whether you support the tournament or not, it's your job to understand it and
Right.
to understand what you're walking into on any given night. If you're playing a team that has something to play for and they need to do a certain score a certain amount of points or win or whatever it is, you better damn well know that. You better relay that information to your players so they aren't.
And remember
aren't
Friday, Jimmy,
running
I
around
was
pissed off.
furious. And look, it came into play. They gave up an extra basket at the end against the Magic. I'm sure they gave up much more than that over the flow of the game, but they just gave up the final one, and they only would have had to win this by 25 or 21
Yeah.
instead of 23 if they didn't give up that basket to Orlando. So
See, to me, that's disrespectful to the game. It's like giving up and saying, "Oh, this thing's over." Like,
Right. So you can
depends how you look at it,
right.
You can argue it in multiple ways. You can say, well, what's ethical about playing 30% at the end of the game, or taking your foot off the gas, or I mean, I get it, but these are adult. Everyone here is an adult, right?
And they know why you're doing it.
This isn't fourth grade rec league where you have to, you can't win by more than 10 points or the kids
sub everybody in, right?
Exactly. Everyone in,
minutes.
everybody out. 6 passes before you shoot because you're up by double digits. No, like this is
everybody
the
in,
NBA.
everybody out.
You
The
don't
whole
need to toughen
post
up.
game.
I'm almost going to do a 180 on this
was
whole thing.
ridiculous.
I'm almost going to do a 180.
You're about to
on
go full Xanax right now.
I'm almost going to do a 180 on my stance. Now I think I might actually love the tournament because it
I love it.
makes you ruthless. You have to be ruthless sometimes. This is
man.
what people want to see. Our best versus your best. You don't want to lose by 30, then be better. Don't lose by 30.
Right.
Don't expect. What am I going? Oh, and I'm in.
Tell him. Yo, keep going.
yeah.
You're cooking.
No.
You're cooking.
You don't
You're
want to
cooking.
lose by 30? Oh, I'm sorry. Then
Yeah.
don't lose by 30. Go out there and
Right.
play harder.
Tell
Be
'em.
better. You're in the NBA. Don't expect the opponent to lay off you so that you're not embarrassed.
That's
Don't
right.
go crying in your cereal because, oh, boo-hoo, they played too hard. If you don't like it, then match their intensity. You're in the NBA. You're supposed to be one of the you're the 0.001% of the world at this one particular thing that you do great. So go do that thing if you have a problem with it. And if you're Billy Donovan, shame on you for not knowing what the stakes are and not knowing what the situation was. If you're Joe Mazzulla, good for you for knowing what it was and for listening to your players and actually going for it. And you know what? If you have to apologize to anybody, let it be the other team.
Right.
You don't want to walk into your own locker room and have to apologize to your own guys because you let them down.
No,
They get it. They
one
know
more time for the
what you
people in
did,
the
what you
back.
did.
And
Tell them, Jimmy.
Exactly. And
Jimmy-
Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday, come off the high horse here for a second, okay?
Right.
Like your ethics and your, like this isn't what the game is all about, and we're better. It's like this is literally what the game is about tonight. Friday night against the Sixers. If you want to go lovey-dovey and all that stuff, by all means, go for it. I don't know how you can against a team that's supposed to be your rivals, but be ruthless.
Yeah.
Be hard-nosed. Me and Josue were talking about earlier. If the 07-08 team had this tournament on the line, you think they'd be pouting about it after the game that they won by 30? You think they'd be crying about the fact that they just won by 30 and they embarrassed the other team?
I do think
Hell no.
Doc
Be a
would have
killer.
got on his high horse. As a matter of fact, Doc would have been like,
Exactly. Be a
"What are
killer.
we doing here?" Like this is especially that meeting
killer.
between the head coaches. And I don't know if that was initiated by Mazzulla or was that initiated by
Donovan.
That was initiated by Donovan. All right, but I feel like with all the respect in class, I feel like Doc would be like, "Hey, you know this isn't personal, right? You know," and I feel like he would relay that to the media.
Respecting the game.
Look, Jimmy, I'm telling you.
You respect the game by
Right,
playing hard and by playing
By
the game the way it's
halftime,
supposed to be played.
when I was
That's what
telling
you did
Bobby, I
tonight.
was like, you know what? Like, this is like they have to destroy. They should destroy the Bulls. Like that's just what basketball is about. When you think about again the situation, the opportunity. I mean, this is all about the tournament. They're not doing this just to do it, So I think you had the perfect excuse to run up the score, and I like to see the Celtics obviously.
I don't think
do what they had to do tonight, and I'm surprised by these comments, to be honest. I really am.
No, I think the comments, Jimmy, just are just trying to show the sportsmanship and respect to the other side, because when they were out there, Jimmy, they weren't holding back. I mean, they were unloading on them in that fourth quarter. I love the way they played when they got back in the game.
It's that competitive fire, man. It's got to take over. That's got to be natural. It's got to be organic.
And I was pleasantly surprised
But
because
if
I
you-
didn't expect to see that. I mean, they basically, Jimmy, I was so mad on Friday because they just shrugged their shoulders, walked off the court in Orlando, and basically gave up what effectively could have been their spot in this.
Yeah.
And they had to do this tonight because they did that. And John was all confused why I was upset about it, but this is why. Like, you made it tougher on yourself to actually be part of this thing that actually looks pretty cool now. So I'm glad they did what they did tonight. I love the intensity they played with in that fourth quarter. It was their second half was one of their best halves all year. I mean, they just unloaded on the Bulls, got turnovers, got out in transition, created good shots. Horford was excellent in this one. I thought Jaylen was super aggressive. Even Tatum off the jump ball going to the rim there. I mean, they just played great together tonight. White too. And it really brought something out of them, I felt like, here. So they can say, I didn't love doing this. I didn't love going back in the game. I don't like these rules. But when they were out there, they didn't hesitate in terms of running up the score and doing what they needed to do here. And they all knew what it took.
You don't need to apologize.
I get it, Jimmy.
In this situation.
I get it, yeah.
This is what – no, I know you get it.
He's saying that for everybody else,
I'm trying to figure out what Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday are crying about. This is not something that you need to feel bad about. This is literally what you had to do to advance. It's not your fault that the Bulls suck. Hey, don't apologize for that. Like I said, if you're Joe Mazzulla and you want to go ahead, and do the respectful thing and, hey, Billy, we have to do what we have to do, fine. I would much rather have to do that than walk into a Celtics locker room and say, guys, I know you wanted to win this, but
right. Imagine if they
were up
blew it
20
tonight.
and blah, blah, blah. Not even if they blew it, Bobby, but imagine if
he
Mazzulla just
pulled
said, we're
his
not
guys,
playing
right.
for Yeah, we're not playing for it.
That's what he said
What kind of
before the game. That's what it seemed like was going to
know.
happen. So I was so pleasantly surprised. And big credit to Joe for having someone on the
That poker
score,
face.
on the bench, having the lineups
Right.
ready to go back in, and the strategy with the Drummond thing. I mean, that was impressive, Jimmy. Like, he managed it perfectly. They get up to 35. They lose a little bit. They squeak out a few extra baskets at the end. Hauser gets that free throw, which helped a little bit too. And then they get a stop the other way. It was just – and again, we wouldn't be talking about any of this if this wasn't a thing. We'd be saying, oh, Celtics won by 1 million. Laid off at the end, won by 10, and good night. Useless game. We're never going to remember. I'm going to remember this.
No, if enough players do have a problem with the score differential and all that, like Bobby said, if they play more games, then maybe they can find a different way to get that tiebreaker to something different, whether it's strength of schedule or whatever it ends up being in the end. But you might be somebody who likes the score differential, and you like the fact that these teams realize that they need to play hard till the end because it might come back to bite them if they don't. Like that might be the whole draw for some people. Maybe casual NBA fans do want to see a team run up the score and,
Jimmy,
play
everyone
hard
in
and
my
maybe-
mentions all week was like, who cares? Who gives an F? And then today, everyone in my mentions was like, how they get in? Tell me how.
Sure. I think there's going to be more people who are, again, now it's like anything else, any other tournament. The further along you get into the tournament, the more people take notice, the more the games matter, right?
Look at the
more
East
is
teams,
on the
some fun
line.
teams in here. The Knicks, the Bucks, the Pacers. It's going to be awesome.
We I thought we had somebody jumping on, but maybe we don't. I don't see the camera right now. Okay,
there he
maybe
is.
we do. All right, guys. We said the words boomer rage, and I think that was like the signal for our good friend Nick
back call?
Gelso, who Nick, I don't know. There's a rumor going around that you sat behind Joe Mazzulla's
I
wife
did.
tonight at the game, and I'm serious.
I
I'm
seriously
serious.
did.
Good for you. Okay.
She was very
Now
nice.
that we got that
very
out of the
nice.
way, now that we got that out of the way, and somebody's messing with. Here we go.
There we go.
What do you have to say? You're at the game tonight. What'd you think of the win, but the tournament?
I gotta say, number one, I love Bobby's enthusiasm. I've been on Team Bobby about this from the beginning. Bobby, you know that.
Okay.
I think this is like you could be like trying to be cool, like no, I don't want to win. But you know what? We bitch all the time about.
Can you sit still for a second?
We bitch all.
Jeez. Taking us on a tour of your place.
Just pacing, but we bitch all the time about non-competitive games or people not having pride, right? This team, the Celtics, first of all, like they've crumbled kind of on the big stage in their own gym 2 years in a row, and like I'd have a chip on my shoulder. I think I heard you guys talking about KG era, but like I would have a chip on my shoulder.
Always Celtics. You know how they would feel about this.
Yeah, especially after losing on your own court in the finals and in the game 7, against Miami last year. It's almost like they got punked. And so show that you have a heart. And I love the bench. Like, man, everybody was so excited. So I was like thinking, what do I like about this? I don't understand it totally. We all know there's issues there. But I'm like, I'm an old head boomer rage kind of guy. But if Red were alive, he'd be like, you play to win. You play to win. You play to win. I mean, like, we think it's cool. The old heads who are going, this is stupid. I don't want to mention names, but Mr. Pie Guy, this is stupid. This is stupid. He was calling me out last night.
It's not a thing.
No one cares.
Yeah, the second Bobby said in season, don't say that. Like, he got so mad. Yeah.
But the thing about it is
listen, guys, there are still people who feel that way. There are still people who would
their teams
much
aren't
rather
in it.
play
That's what it
safe.
Listen.
Well, there would be a lot of people tonight that would be spinning if the Celtics didn't hit their number tonight. There would be a lot of people who are pro tournament that would suddenly not be pro tournament tonight. So let's just keep that in mind.
I get that. That's fair. But let's go back to Xanis for a minute.
So,
no, it's just stupid. It's stupid. Okay, so our generation, like we think it's amazing that there were fist fights in preseason games because they wanted to play so much. Like the old heads, all of us guys are like, it was so much more intense.
And there were fights in this tournament, Nick.
There were fights in this tournament. Like there's a fight going on between coaches tonight. Like it feels like the ABA. Like Mazzulla's getting approached by Donovan. Like I'm like, this is cool, So like I'm in. I bought in. I'm big on this. So I'm gonna peace out now.
I love Joe going for it, Nick.
I
was
like
so
Joe
pleasantly
going
surprised.
for it.
Same, man. Sends the right message.
I like Joe going for it. All right, good night, guys. Good night.
Good stuff,
Nick.
Good
thanks
stuff,
for joining
man.
us, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Peace, babies.
That's the boss man.
Appreciate it, Nick.
Joe. So he kept himself together.
You
all
said
things
actually.
considered.
Look
Good
at
for
you.
him.
Yeah, man, he was here. I think that's what it is too. That helps. He's
You want to?
And you know what? One other thing. It's like, okay, maybe it's not. Whoa, not obviously with the Bulls, but let's say the Celtics beat up on a team that they might see in the playoffs at some point. Maybe that's something that those guys don't forget, and that adds to the intensity later on, or just another regular season game later on that isn't an in-season tournament game.
Well, it's a
Like,
good point,
there's
Jimmy, because they're going to play a team that they could potentially see in the playoffs here in Indiana,
sure,
and a fully loaded one
Yeah.
this time. Obviously, they played earlier this season and won by 50 with Halliburton out, but much different team. You're going to have Neesmith on the other side. We'll do that whole thing again. They're scoring 125 points a game. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be in Indiana, probably on Monday now. So I'm ready. You know it, Jimmy. I'm going to Vegas. I'm ready for them to meet me there.
No, we're going to Vegas, Bobby. If you're going, I'm jumping.
Let's go.
in.
No, you missed it, man. Jimmy's got us Vegas stories. He'll tell us later.
We got to convince Gelso to let us. We got to somehow make.
We need the full
work
show to
his,
go.
Full
Yeah,
Vegas
we gotta
show.
do a
Oh
live
man,
show.
we'll do one daily.
On the strip.
That could get interesting. When is that, anyways?
When the trip?
Yeah.
Thursday and Saturday are the games.
Like next week?
Yes.
Wow. So this is happening.
Yeah,
fast.
Monday's
So
Monday's
Tuesday,
round one,
They play Monday.
Yep.
They play Monday. They advance.
and then they play Thursday
Monday.
in the semifinals.
They play Thursday.
Gotta win Monday though. Gotta win
And
Monday.
then you said Saturday.
Saturday's the championship.
But they gotta win Monday.
Wow.
One game at a time.
Yep.
They got to win.
No, it
Monday.
won't be easy. It
Indiana.
won't be easy on Monday.
No.
Although you'd rather play them than the Knicks, who, if things shook.
Bobby, who are the other teams?
I don't know.
Do we know the other
I don't know
teams
the
that are-
West, but it's Bucks.
Just the
Knicks
Knicks
on
and
the
the
other
Bucks.
side of the bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the West things are. Lakers are in it.
There's still games on Tuesday, right? Lakers are the only one that made it before today, right?
Phoenix is probably going to be in it. They have a huge point differential. Pelicans are in the mix. Kings, and then maybe the Rockets or Timberwolves. So
Yeah, look out for the
maybe
Kings.
Ime will be out there.
Kings have been rolling lately. Well, so the Pacers, but yeah.
Rockets are in a tight one with the Mavericks right now. So Ime's hopes.
Man,
oh,
that
actually, they're
Rockets
down
team,
3 with
man,
12 seconds
they
left.
can beat anybody on any given night. One of the best defense in the league right now, and they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they're probably
Um,
done though.
You could tell.
Tough differential.
You could tell. I got my league pass in this year.
Speaking of all these games, these are going to be some hot ticket items, guys. To get some of these, you got all of a sudden you get Celtics Pacers. Then all of a sudden you're going to Vegas. Those are going to be some hard games to get tickets to. But luckily, with SeatGeek, Amit, who told me to set this up for him to play. If you have SeatGeek, hold on, let me pull this up here. All right, damn it. I blew my
Yeah, the whole thing set up in your head. It's all right.
I had the whole thing set
I've
up,
been
man.
there.
But anyways, guys, SeatGeek, right? Great place to get tickets. I know that there's going to be a lot of people interested in these upcoming Celtics games, and you can do that, and you can look for tickets on. There you are, on SeatGeek.com. And it's Dreamers Pro for $20 off your first order. That's $20 off your first purchase with the promo code Dreamers Pro. I know that. So it's Celtics Pacers, then you get a couple games after that in Vegas. What else do they say here? What's so good about SeatGeek? Well, they put all the tickets across the web in one place. Make sure you're getting a good deal. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. So you look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. And every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with something called swaps. So use the code DreamersPro for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code DreamersPro. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app. Again, that's Dreamers Pro. You guys got any sporting events or concerts coming up, or that you're thinking about going to, or no?
I'm kind of intrigued by Travis Scott. I'm gonna keep an eye on the prices.
Yeah, those prices are crazy.
I would love to see.
Yo,
Travis
you
Scott
down?
with you,
Let's
Bob.
go, the three of us.
Should we buy some
I just
full
I just,
tickets?
I just want to know what it's like. I mean, I've never been to a Travis Scott show, and people have
So he
the people
I
I've
went to
spoken
I saw
to.
Travis Scott at Coachella.
You
Years
saw him at
ago.
Coachella? Oh
So
wow.
No big deal.
he
Yeah, this is like 5.
he did our spring concert freshman year at Q's, and everyone still talks about it like 6-7 years later now.
Damn.
Yeah, no, that would be
That's
that
wild.
that concert would be.
Yeah,
that'd be a
imagine for
scene.
for a college show. That's what's up.
It was insane.
My concert's a little different. I'm going to Brett Eldred's Christmas concert.
I was gonna
next
guess
week.
Andrea Bocelli.
Oh, you doing any Christmas things, Jimmy?
Pretty fired up for that. Brett Eldredge is a country singer, but he does this unbelievable like tour every Christmas for like a month. It's just his Christmas songs. They call him Mr. Christmas. So if anyone is into Christmas music, it's not like country Christmas music. It's like the classics. He's got a nice like crooning type voice. It's very classy. It's a little different than Travis Scott. It's gonna be a different vibe, Bobby. But it's
that sounds terrible.
Jimmy, are you
no, it's gonna be unbelievable. I'm a big Christmas
gonna-
guy.
Oh
I was
yeah,
gonna
that's
ask you,
true. That's
Jimmy.
true.
Are you
Is it
doing any
original
Chris-
songs? Do they have originals?
He's got some really good.
Oh,
Christmas
okay.
originals,
Oh, well, that's
yes.
different. I'm thinking he's doing
Whoa,
covers the whole time. Like,
Mr.
you going over there to
Christmas.
see him perform
Oh, he's-
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
He's got some great covers. Don't get me wrong. He's got
Oh.
some great covers, but he's got some unreal originals, and it's
Uh-huh.
very hard to come up with good original Christmas songs. People are stuck on the traditional ones, but he has a number of good ones. He's got a couple albums out. I'm telling you, it's a classy event. You gotta dress up. You gotta buy into it.
Where is this, at the Wing Theater? Jeez.
MGM.
Ah,
Fenway.
Oh, that's a good spot.
I haven't been there. Yeah, you've been there
It's
too.
been-
You've been there,
It's
Bobby.
been at the Wang. It's been at the Wang in the past. It's been to a few other
Expensive
The-
drinks,
the-
though, Jimmy.
The
Anyway,
first
Steve-
time I went
Geeky
there, the first
might
time I
have
went to that venue, it was for a Chris Rock show, and I had no idea. Like, I walk in there, and everyone's dressed up, and I'm just like, like I didn't get the memo. I didn't know that like every event you have to dress up. I'm like, it's Chris Rock. I'm like, all right, whatever. But now I know.
Are you
A
doing
lot of-
any Christmas events?
A lot of people hate Christmas music. Like
You gonna
me
be singing
personally,
some
playing any?
Christmas songs?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got like 5 gigs over the next 2 weeks, and I probably mix in like 6 or 7.
Yo, Jimmy
Alright.
got a tour going pretty much. Look at you.
Mix them in. I'm not doing a concert.
No,
I'm
man,
not
that's
doing
dope.
yeah.
I remember you used to do this every
I-
once in a while. Now look at you. You're booked. That's what's up, man.
I'm booked, baby. It's busy.
I'm
busy
gonna
time of the year.
give
Gotta-
you a great review.
Parties,
I
too.
gotta go check this out. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, I loved it too.
Josue, you were supposed
I
to
know
go to
it
that.
was, man.
Josue hasn't
Came up.
shown yet.
I know. I'm
Has
the only
John
one.
showed?
I won't
Shit,
forget.
Bobby.
No,
you're not supposed to
John
say
hasn't
that.
gone either, has he?
John hasn't gone. Josue hasn't gone. Sherrod
Josue,
hasn't
you gotta
gone.
beat John
Gotta get
now.
these guys.
I gotta drag John's son.
Amit had a lot.
Know me. I'm
Wait,
gonna pull up and
Josue.
John's gonna be there already.
Amit had a lot of fun at Hunters when he came.
I heard.
I won't say any more, Amit. I know he's probably.
So did I, Jimmy,
he's
just a
probably
different
shivering right
different
now.
way. My meal was good.
Yeah.
You guys are making it on me look
Yeah,
terrible
yeah.
right now.
No, Amit had a blast. Amit had a blast, and I had a blast with Amit too. We always have fun when anyone who comes to the show. Always
Yeah,
has
that's what he told me. So I
Anyways.
gotta go.
Bobby, let's go. Before we're good, way off topic here, but let's reel it back in just for a couple more minutes. The game tonight, just the game itself. What stood out to you? Jaylen Brown with 30 points. Drew Holiday came back. How do you think he looked out there?
So obviously
Go on.
Porzingis is still out. We talked to him before the game. He seems fine. A low grade strain. He thinks he'll be back in a week, as Missoula said. But they've gone to Horford in his place. And if anyone had any concerns about him, they are gone. He dominated again in the spot start tonight. 3 blocks within 2 quarters and change, 6 assists. The offense, I know he's not normally giving you double-figure scoring tonight, and he didn't even need to do that because the passing from him was incredible. Handoff plays, finding cutters, posting up and kicking out to 3-point shooters off the catch inside. He just moves the ball so well, and he's a much better passer than Porzingis. I know Porzingis changes the offense when he's out there, but you get a different kind of game style with Horford at center that I just really loved watching tonight, and I thought killed the Bulls because the Celtics were cutting all night. How many times did Brown cut backdoor and score inside off Horford and others? White was able to get some cutters, including Tatum. So you're able to get Brown and Tatum off the ball more in this one as cutters, and I thought it was super effective. Did they shoot well from 3 in this one? It didn't feel like it. I'm gonna look at that number real quick. 43. So they
Celtics?
did.
Oh, you're talking about
But
Bulls.
yeah, so no, the Celtics shot 43 from three, so they were hitting threes too. But I thought they were able to get to the basket off cuts in a super effective way in this one. And Horford, the defense, he can still switch on the guards at 37. And this is why, Jimmy, when they get to the playoffs and Trae Young hits a few tough threes over him, I hate hearing everyone go, "Oh, he stinks, terrible defender." He keeps getting. He's guarding the Trae Youngs of the world at 37 as a center.
Right.
There's not many centers, period, that can do that. Never mind a 37-year-old one. So
I
he's
know,
still
he's not-
indispensable.
He's not doing that spin move thing to get to the rim too. That Cornet unleashed.
They're
He's
so
taking-
lucky
he's,
to
he's,
have
he's
him.
defending them straight up. Like, that's how good he is.
And it wouldn't be ideal, Jimmy, and it probably can't happen just because it'll put too much of a load on him. But this does make you think, and again, consider the competition, Atlanta, Chicago. If something happened to Porzingis for a couple weeks in the playoffs, you might be okay with Horford in there. You might be able to get by.
Just knocked on wood.
It might not be devastating to you. Like, he's that good of a backup option here. And obviously you got to figure out the whole Cornet Cater thing behind him if that happens. I still wish Grant was here. We can talk about that another day. But Horford looks as good
No,
as ever.
We can't talk about that another day. Sorry.
Once the Dallas game comes around.
I was gonna say it's gonna come up.
Do you think that Mark Cuban got so annoyed by Grant Williams where he's like, I gotta get out. I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
I'm too close to this team. You know what? This is it. I knew this day would come.
All right,
this is the day.
I got your West teams, Jimmy.
Let's
It looks
hear it.
like the Pelicans are in.
Okay.
The
Zion.
Lakers are in. Suns look like they're in.
Booker.
And the Kings and Timberwolves. One of the Kings or Timberwolves.
Okay.
Probably the Kings.
Those are
Probably
some,
the Kings.
Those are some entertaining teams. That'll get people,
I like it.
that'll
I
get
mean,
people watching.
You didn't end up with random teams in here. You ended up with playoff teams, potential playoff previews, and stars.
I think that's what the NBA figured was gonna happen. And if not, you know
Yeah.
what? If there's a wild card in there, then even the better, right? I think they like the just to see what happens when something is on the line and how competitive these teams are going to be.
We might get a Celtics Lakers title game.
Wouldn't that be something? That would actually be fun. Drew Holiday back on the team, back in the lineup tonight. Anything?
I thought he looked awesome.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, for sure.
Forced turnovers early, passing.
Just takes his time with
Hit
the offense.
shots.
Doesn't worry about how many
Didn't seem to
shots, how
be
many attempts
favoring his
against.
ankle or anything like that.
Right. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no. Defensively, he was crisp.
Mm-hmm.
And he still got those band minutes off the bench, even though Holiday was back, and he looked good again too.
Got a few
Obviously, we
band
had an
minutes.
exclusive. We had an exclusive with him this morning, so you can go check that out.
That's
Celtics
right. Tell
All
us a little
Access.
bit about that, but don't give too much away. But tell us a little bit.
Mostly talked about his relationship with Joe, because Joe really seems to love him. Obviously, hasn't played him a ton early on, but keeps emphasizing, I want to find this guy minutes. He's looked so good at practice, love his game, and he's making it pay off. I mean, what was his final stat line tonight? He ended with
Who's this?
Bam.
5 points and
I
a
got it
block,
right here. Boom.
plus 10.
Yeah. There it is.
Love it. I mean, you'll take this from him, right?
How about Hauser? Nice little putback dunk.
Hauser.
The shooting
Oh
wasn't
my God.
there tonight, but that putback dunk, I think, erased anyone's issues.
You'll take it.
He's so
Is he a
good.
dunker now?
He's doing it all. I mean, he drew free throws at the end, like I said, right before the buzzer, and helped maintain that score differential.
That was just a dumb foul by the Bulls, though.
Yeah, you know what else,
It
too,
was,
guys?
Did get the offensive rebound, though, I think. which was
He
nice.
grabbed a career high 10 rebounds.
incredible. I
Hauser
mean,
did
I
that
never
tonight?
in a
I didn't
million
realize
years
that.
thought we'd see that. I mean,
Yeah.
that was his biggest weakness. Coming
Four
into the league, was
offensive too. I
rebounding.
think that's the part that stands out the most.
Mhm.
He created those extra possessions, and you know, Bobby. Granted, everybody was so focused on the in-season tournament and what was on the line, but you might be onto something. Or you might be spot on with the probably the best second half display from the Celtics team, just all around in terms of like the depth, and you got a little bit of everything. And obviously, we didn't get to we didn't get the garbage time, but still, these guys never took the foot off the gas pedal.
And Joe emphasized that tonight. He kept getting asked about the differential and where they're going to go for it. And he kept saying, we got to have a good third quarter. We got to rebound. We got to guard. We got to do all these little things that we haven't been doing lately. And that's something we talked about, Jimmy, coming into these last 2 games here, is they hadn't been playing well. The offense really slipped. They weren't moving the ball well.
Yeah, you were
in
worried.
this game.
Yeah.
They get to 21 assists, I think, in a change, and they've averaged 24. They end with how many in this one? 36, which just probably shattered their previous high this year on 47 baskets. Defense sharp, forcing turnovers on the boards. This is the stuff Joe wanted to see. And then once it got to the fourth quarter and they were close to the threshold, he said, let's go for it. And that's kind of how it went down. But his emphasis going into this one, he said they never even talked about the rules, never talked about the differential, because he felt like if he did, it was going to be a distraction having the players go into the game and say, all right, we got to win by 23. And all the players kind of knew it anyway, but he didn't want that to be the emphasis. He wanted playing solid to be the emphasis, and that's what they did here in this one. But I did see a little extra excitement out of the players. As much as they said, like we talked about earlier, they didn't love doing this. They looked like they did on the court. I mean, they were flying around, racing up the floor, going for this thing. So it was awesome. I'm going to stand by it. It was one of the most fun games I've been able to cover here.
Wild take of the year. That should have been a bold prediction.
And last but not least, Jimmy, you get my text?
Oh yeah, I did.
All right.
Yeah, we got last but not least here. Let me ask.
That should be a segment. Last but not least.
Let me ask this question to Bobby. How about that, Bobby?
Yeah, he's talking to you.
Which Celtics head coach in history has the highest winning percentage of any coach in NBA history through 100 games?
Is it Joe?
It's Joe. I think I screwed
ding,
up.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, you kind of did. That's all right.
Joe Mazzulla's record through 100 games as Boston's head coach is 71-29. He currently has the highest winning percentage of any coach in NBA history.
Facts, my dog. That's
0.710. Right. So I don't know what I just said prior to that, but that's the actual fact.
He had the team to do it, obviously, but credit to him. I mean, he was in a tough spot, and he's done a good job. I mean, I put out the poll, Jimmy. I don't know if you saw it a couple of days ago, because I want to get the temperatures, like where are they at on him? Because it seems like people have been going crazy about him, not enjoying the way he's been coaching, criticizing decisions, timeouts, all the rest. And this was after the Orlando game. I think the Hawks game hadn't even happened yet. I said, has Joe done a great job? You love him. Good job. Fine with it. Bad job. Hurting them, or horrible job, get rid of them. Those are the 4 options. And good, fine with it, 60%. That was the overwhelming vote, with about like 1,000 votes.
So people are
60% said they're good with them. And that's the most fair answer, I think.
I mean,
I think it is.
Your Celtics are 14-4 right now. I don't know how you could be anything worse than fine with him, right? I mean, there's going to be with most head coaches, there's going to be some things that you disagree with in game. But overall, right now, the Celtics are playing like one of the best teams in the NBA, and you really can't overly criticize our overarching Boston Celtics. You can find things within games to disagree with, but there's not going to be enough there where you can really make the case, oh, Joe's not the guy, or this team isn't listening, or it's the same mistakes and blah, blah, blah. You can't really go there yet. So I think those are fair responses, Bobby. And it's good to get a poll like that. A little gauge the fan base. So that's where we are. Do you guys have anything else? Your closing thoughts before we wrap this one up here?
Keep it up. Keep it up, Celtics. I mean, this is
Friday.
I was saying this before you hopped on, Bobby. Like, it's just the approach, the focus. They had a playoff feel to it, regardless of who they're playing against. I know the score was ugly, but regardless of the fact, I think the Celtics can keep this going. I really do, going into Friday night.
Here we go, Bobby.
Oh, that's the poll. There you go.
This poll. Curious about the fan temperature on Joe Mazzulla right now. Feels low given the overall quality Celtics start.
And when Bobby showed this to me, he was like, "Aren't you surprised?" I'm like, "No, not really."
I was surprised. This is, the fans are passionate, angry after a couple
Yeah,
bad
Well, they're gonna
losses.
look at the record and they're gonna keep things, obviously in
So
perspective.
yeah, I mean, you've got 75% who are either great or good with Joe
Yeah.
Mazzulla. So that's pretty overwhelming. 20% say bad/below expectations. So those people might just be really hard to please in everything in life. It's hard to know who's answering these questions.
4% horrible.
hard to-
4% horrible.
4%
It's
need
hard to know
help.
your audience.
4% are trolls and they need help for sure. And that's pretty accurate for internet, I would say. So
You got to give those guys the "it's
Yeah.
not your fault" speech.
yeah, exactly. Anything else, Bobby? We got
No,
Sixers on Friday. Anything we should be on the lookout for there?
Oubre could make his
Oubre.
return after the
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah, Keith Pompey joined Cedric Maxwell and I on our latest episode of the Cedric Maxwell podcast, and he says that he could be available. And if you ask me, I think this is a game that Philly's really going to get up for.
Yeah, hopefully he hops on the team bus.
I think they're really disappointed with what happened the last time they played the Celtics team, especially against a short-handed Celtics team. So I think that was
They
going to
just
be.
blew the Lakers.
You might, they did. They blew them out by like what 30 plus last night.
40.
So they're going to be. This might be the hardest.
They apologized after.
I think this will easily be the hardest. This will be the hardest game for the Celtics at this point in the season, and I think this is a perfect timing for it. When you see what you saw tonight, no Porzingis, but I mean that was the case in Philly. So we'll see.
I hope that
Teams that just fell short of the tournament, by the way, Heat lost by 7. They would have been in if they won. Cavs couldn't get the differential, but they won by a lot. Nets, again, helped the Celtics out big time, but couldn't help themselves. They lose the tiebreaker with Boston. And then Orlando, after all that, misses this as well off the tiebreaker with Boston.
That was their championship, man. I'm telling you.
they blew it. They're a young team.
I think you play a few more games next year, I think. Play every team twice, extend it, get some more sample size in these groups.
There it
I
is.
think that's the answer. And then you won't have the point differential thing, Jimmy. Keep it, but it won't come into play like it did tonight.
I don't know. I might be all in on point differential now just because it's
You'll keep it, but it won't be as big of a deal if you play a couple times because there won't be as many ties.
If there's more games,
right.
yeah.
But then
make it count for something. Like 500,000, no one cares.
Well, that's a whole nother story. We have to figure out what else is going to happen because of it. But I like the point differential. It adds a different element to it. That's what makes it different from the regular season. You want to differentiate these games, right? You can only paint the free throw line so many different colors, and people aren't going to give a shit after enough time. So,
one other thing, Jimmy, you wanted me to ask. I asked Luke what he's gonna get with the 500,000 if he gets it. Said pay off the mortgage.
Oh, that is such a Luke answer, right? That's just a smart.
That's a responsible player.
Yeah, it's a responsible guy. Smart answer. Do the right thing. Oh, that's the most Luke answer ever. And then maybe he'll have a housewarming party and invite you over, Bobby, once it's fully in his
Lemon
name.
Squares, baby.
Must be a hell of a house if he hasn't paid it off yet. Jeez. He's not making minimum wage here.
He's got to have some big desserts planned if they win this tournament.
Totally.
Have them lined up.
In Vegas.
That's going to be a hell of a house party at Luke's after the game. We might have to have you report live on the scene for that.
What a fun night.
Funnest night of Bobby's life, I think he said earlier. You said it was the best night of your life, right?
No, that's what the comments kept saying, which is pretty funny.
We're happy to be a part of it, Bobby. And
it's in the running. It's top 5 probably.
We're happy that everyone joined us tonight. We're happy to be a part of your guys' night. Best night ever. Celtics advance in the in-season tournament. They go on to play the Pacers on Monday after a 124-97
Write
win.
this one down, John. 11:28. You're never gonna forget it.
In the history books.
Where
were you on this night?
Celtics
124.97. That's it for us. Once again, thank you to FanDuel. Thank you to SeatGeek. Thank you to Bobby, Josue, and we will see everybody Friday night against the Sixers.